Hey guys, Dirt here. Welcome to another episode of Formers Friday, live streaming from popculturenetwork.com and YouTube. I guess we should probably give them a shout out for doing some of the backbone on this. All right, guys, welcome to a special Friday the 13th edition. Well, I guess there's nothing really special. It doesn't tie into Friday the 13th in any way, but I did post a That New Toy Smell flashback of a Friday the 13th toys segment I did in 2010. So if you want to check that out, make sure you go to popculturenetwork.com or check out the YouTube channel. Now, today, we're going to be taking a look at a funky Transformer. As a lot of you know, I love redecos. I love when they do funky color schemes. I love when they do bold, weird combinations of stuff. And if you go back a couple months ago, we did a collection of a bunch of Wheeljack reviews all together in one video. You can go check that out on the channel or at popculturenetwork.com. But today, I have a Wheeljack that I've never taken a look at before. In fact, it's been sitting in its package for quite a while in my collection. And I finally decided today's the day I'm going to pop it open. And it's special and funky because it's this one, the Dark Energon version of Wheeljack from Transformers Prime. Now, it's basically, as far as I understand, the same one that was released in Transformers Prime a couple of times, but this one has the funky, fresh, Dark Energon colors. Now, if we take a look at the package, it's your standard Transformers Prime box. We've got the artwork. We've got the lightning bolt logo for the Dark Energon stuff. You've got your stats on the side, if any of you pay attention to that. But otherwise, it's just your standard bubble card that we've all come to know. And then on the back, it looks almost exactly like the other Wheeljack packages, except this one has the Dark Energon colors on it. And I'll be honest with you, I was not a huge fan of Transformers Prime. I know a lot of people were. I did like some of the toys, though. In fact, I like quite a few of the toys because they had that classic Transformers feel to them, not the movie style. And so seeing this one, though, with the funky colors, this one got my attention not just because of the funky colors, but because the funky colors, to me, have a very Tron-like feel to it. And if any of you know anything about me, you know that I love me some Tron. As a matter of fact, if you've watched the past couple videos, you can see there's some artwork there, right there, from Mike Miller, the artist who did a lot of the Injustice DC comics, also did the covers for Dynamite's Game of Thrones adaptations, did a Tron sketch for me. This is from C2E2 this year, and I finally just pulled it out so I could get it framed, but for right now it's sitting right there. It's been packed safely away for quite a while, but I decided to get it out and show it off before I throw it in a frame, never to touch it with human hands again. But back to the toy here. This is our Tron version of Wheeljack, and so let's just go ahead. We're gonna rip it open, and there's no point in saving any of this stuff. Once you rip open a toy, it is open, it is done, and none of this packaging means anything anymore, although I probably want the instructions, because you know how I am with these things. All right, so first up, we've got our two swords that he is known for, and the swords have the connectors here, which can peg into the side of the car. Also, I think to hide them in the bottom, you can use those. And then it has these here for going into his hands. And then we've got the notches cut out in the middle, and those also help to make it fit on the bottom in a different spot. So multi-use there on those. And now we have the figure, and he's stuck in there, and I hate trying to go through and untie this stuff and get it. So instead, I'm just going to use my clippers here and just cut right through it, because I am not the type of person with the patience to untie those. All right. There is Wheeljack. And let's adjust this down a little bit so you get a better look of him there. And one thing about the Prime figures that I always liked is that the vehicle mode does look pretty good like a vehicle. Now, of course, because of the funky colors on this one, he does stand out a little differently. He doesn't look like a car on the road. But generally speaking, while they still have their own style and their own flair for the way the vehicle looks, it still looks like a car. Overall, it looks like the idea of the alt version is that this one could be a vehicle on the street. Oh, and it's got one of those clear rubber band things on the front. Let's get rid of that. You can see the wheels moving as it rolls along, because in the vehicle mode, the vehicle works like the vehicle should. One funky thing, though, is that there is a split down the middle of the windshield because of the way it transforms. So that does look a little weird. But the color scheme, I love the color scheme. Like I said, this is very Tron-esque for me. It's got that kind of electric blue feeling. It's got the red on the windscreen, the red accents. And oddly enough, to me, that Autobot symbol on the side almost looks like a police badge. It looks like that's what would be on the side of a Autobot police car, the way it's in that shield. Now, our Katanas, there's an attack mode that he has. And I know you can hook them onto the front using the little holes. There are these little tabs that probably don't show up too well because it's translucent plastic on a background of translucent plastic. But you slide the little swords in there, and then it's in, whoops, they're almost like tusks. If you think of a woolly mammoth or an elephant or something like that. Woolly mammoth, that's the first thing I go to because everybody's seen those, right? So it's got this like attack mode, but I mean, let's be honest, that just looks kind of ridiculous. I mean, yes, if you want a weapon on the front to attack people with, then there it is. But the better way, I think, to store these underneath is that you can actually stick them down under here in order to, in effect, hide them away. And I love this design idea because not only does it, it's not showy. You don't see them sticking out anywhere. It hides them, but it also keeps them from getting lost. And that's just a great feature. Anytime you can take the accessories and tuck them away somewhere. Now, you can, if you want, stick them on the outside in different spots. And then you do have the ability with this figure to take the sword and say, stick it there on the side. So you want to go up and do Death Race 2000 and it's slicing the people in half or slicing the other cars, then you do have the ability to stick them there. But the idea of being able to just kind of get them out of the way, you're not going to lose them. They're safe and secure in there. You can fully display it like this, and it's in a quote-unquote normal mode. To me, just makes it that much better. I mean, that's just a great vehicle mode. Everything's tucked away. Everything's taken care of, and we don't really have to worry about losing any pieces or finding a spot where we, have to stow them away. All right, so now we're going to have to transform it. And if I can remember, it's been such a long time since I've done one of these Wheeljacks. All right, the windshield pops off, right? Okay, and then, oh my gosh, I don't remember what to do to split this apart. What are we doing here? Folding. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's see. The arms will go up like this. Oh boy. Probably should pay more attention to the instructions. Because like I said, it's been a long time since I've had to transform one of these. And I'm always terrible with the transformations. Okay, I'm going to switch to the other camera here for a second. I'm always terrible with the transformations. And it's one of those things, it's my burden, my cross to bear, so to speak. I love Transformers. I really, really do. And as a kid, of course, I had a ton of them. And back in those days, it was much easier. Back in my day, little whippersnappers, it was a lot easier to transform these things. It made more sense. It was very simple to switch them out, to put them in a different mode. It was just streamlined, I think, because it was thought of much more as a kid's product And a kid's product, you really can't have be, that difficult to do because you want little kids to do it. And if kids can't do it, they're going to get frustrated. They're not going to want to play with them anymore. And they're just going to get rid of them, throw them in a box, never play them again. And parents are not going to want to buy them for the kids. So they really had to make them much easier to adapt. And I think as people have gotten older and you've gotten much older collectors looking at it, people who are much more intelligent than I dealing with these things, they had a tendency to just make them much more difficult in their transformations because overall it looks better. They can do more with covering up certain pieces by putting extra folds into it so that when you do the transformation, it's much less noticeable that you have stuff in the way. But I'm kind of stuck, kind of at a point here where I'm having a difficult time figuring out. So I'm going to have to open up the instructions here and take a look. The legs, let's see here. Legs move. They move down. Okay. So according to the instructions, and I'm knocking stuff over here. I just knocked over my He-Man book. I won that from Lucky Legends on Facebook. Just got that in the mail the other day. All right, let's see here. On the legs, it's saying that this piece moves down. This piece, we've got the leg up. The leg is supposed to fold. Okay. Folds all the way around this way. And then you turn it. I much prefer just the simple whoop, whoop, and it's done. But that is not what we have here. And I'm going to do this. I can do this. I am a grown man. I am a grown man. I will get this. All right. So we fold it all the way down. That's another, one of the things when you're dealing with the regular version of these, because it's a solid plastic, it's much easier to see where the lines are. There's a cut there, so it's obviously a piece is going to flip. Where on this, because of the translucent plastic, it's more difficult to see where some of the breaks are and where some of the lines are, because some of them just look like that's a piece from the back that's attached to it. You don't really realize that it's cut and that that's a part that slides, which, there are bonuses to that can help the overall look of some of those pieces. Okay. So once we have this down, we push up the wheels so that we can fold over the foot. Where's this go? And it folds somehow, I am told. The instruction says these should. There's the other thing about the instructions is they just put, like a little arrow on it with a flip, and it's just like, whoop, there it is. That's where the piece moves. And you're like, what? How does this thing work? I am an idiot. Oh, wait, wheels. The wheels go in the back? No. Yeah, the wheels are on the side. So why isn't that going? Why won't you transform? This wheel is, it flips. Okay. Well, yes, I am an idiot. Those of you sitting at home right now going, this guy is an idiot. Yes, I am. This is why I hate, it was one thing when we did these as prepackaged videos, I could do in advance because I could just do that, magic of video editing, and I'd throw it in the air and catch it and it would be transformed. Now that I'm doing it like live on the air, especially from one that I just ripped open, if this was one that, I'd been able to open and play with ahead of time, might not look like as much of the fool. However, apparently being the fool is my lot in life, and so that's just how it has to be. somehow I have to get this arm to swivel. And I just can't figure out how to make it do that. And now I just figured it out. So apparently we have to pull it away, twist, push it back. There we go. We are in robot mode. All right. Let's throw this back into the photo tent over here. And his robot mode, I will say, I'm not as big a fan of the robot mode in the Prime figures because they do contain an element of the movie to it. They do have that folded paper origami, insect look, which I don't think is quite as nice as the big and boxy versions of the original G1 Transformers. And I don't want to make it a whole like G1 versus everything else, but that I was a kid when that came out. That's what I grew up with. And generally speaking, I think his arms are a little too big. He almost has like ape arms. They're so big and so long compared to the rest of him. They don't quite fit the same way. But overall, speaking in terms of this character, I like Wheeljack. I like the overall look of the transformation. I like that he still has that classic head, even though it's been recolored here with some of these funky colors. Not a big fan of the windshield pieces sticking out like this, but that was on every version of the Prime figure. So that's not something that's just on this one. That was on all of them, and that was an issue I think they all had. And a lot of the Prime figures, I believe, had issues similar to that, where they had just some kind of weird random transformation piece that just stuck out bizarrely, and there was no real good way to get rid of it. But if we're going to be talking about a lot of the figures from this line, I do like Wheeljack, and I do like these funky colors. Now, when you look at him transformed here, you can see that overall he still has that dark blue translucent color. There's a lot of gray pieces in the underbody here, but the red accents really pop out. The orange ones don't pop as much, but they do look complementary. The orange rust color is a nice accent. It's like opposite from the blue across the color wheel. And so it makes a nice complementary color, and the red just pops. So where we have red, like on the legs, on the face up there, it looks really good. One curious thing, though, I noticed when I was transforming this is there's a little sticker on his leg here. It's just a little piece of, I don't know if it's tape or paper, what this is. I just noticed it was in the package this way with this little piece of tape, and oddly enough, pulling it off shows a flaw in the paint right there. There's some sort of maybe a bubble in the paint, and I don't know, they put a bandage on it. I don't know what this is, but yeah, there was definitely something covering up right there. That's a little weird and awkward, but nonetheless, you can see the figure there. From the back, though, it suffers from a lot of the Hasbro toys this era, still till today, where you have these big cutout areas. They just hollowed it out to save plastic, lowers their production cost, but it's not really savings. It's often passed on to the consumer. Nonetheless, though, there they are. But yeah, I mean, if we were going to take all of the Wheeljack figures from this line, and like I said, you can go back and watch the video from a couple months ago where I took all of the reviews we had done for Wheeljack and put them into one, I don't know, half hour, 45-minute video, however long it was. You can see how different some of them were and how very much the same they were. I think when they got into Beast Hunters, they put a lot of little bits on it with saw blades and spiky things and whatever all over. Here he's much more of just the plain version, but just with those funky colors. But I gotta say, I do overall like the trend in this, even though it was somewhere in between the movie version And the classic version, having those movie version elements, was just the way of kind of making more of a kid-friendly version that people would want to, kids would want to see because they were more familiar with the movie than the classic cartoons or the classic toys. This was a good amalgam of those styles, bringing it together, but with these funky blue dark Energon colors. Like I said, I really like the way the red pops off of there, and I like the translucent blue on them. I might do a little bit painting on this just to make it a little more Tron style, with maybe some white lines going across, accent lines, like you have the Tron energy lines going through them. But overall, generally speaking, a nice looking figure, just a fun little toy. I like the vehicle mode, I think, a lot more. I think that looks really cool. But there you go. You've got a Wheeljack. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget, you can catch more toy reviews, podcasts, comic reviews, all sorts of fun things over at popculturenetwork.com. We've got lots of content for you there. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on YouTube, Tumblr, Google+. If it's out there, we've probably got a presence on it. And if we don't, send us an invite and we'll check it out. We'll be added to it. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.